Miyamoto Musashi was a samurai legend, feared and respected for never losing a duel. His presence alone was enough to intimidate. He carried an aura that went beyond skill, rooted in years of mental and spiritual discipline. Musashi's power wasn't just physical. It was a mastery of mind and spirit that radiated strength. In this video, we'll explore the Musashi Method, his principles for building a presence that commands respect and fear alike. Part 1. The Foundation of Fearlessness, Mastering the Self. Musashi's legendary aura didn't come from raw skill alone. It was rooted in his relentless focus on mastering himself. He understood that if he couldn't control his own mind, no amount of physical power would ever be enough. The confidence people sensed in him came from a fearless inner calm, built on facing his own fears and weaknesses head-on. Musashi once said, "Today is victory over yourself of yesterday. Tomorrow is your victory over lesser men." To him, true strength came from conquering his own doubts, insecurities, and limitations each day. Max took this lesson to heart. He'd always thought confidence was about outward success, but Musashi's words made him realize it started from within. He decided to follow Musashi's path, facing his own fears one step at a time. Max knew he couldn't build that fearless aura overnight, but he could start with small challenges. So he began speaking up in situations where he'd usually stay silent, like sharing his opinions in meetings or asserting himself in conversations. Each time, he felt the initial wave of fear, but instead of backing down, he reminded himself of Musashi's example. The more Max faced these small fears, the more he felt his confidence growing, almost like a muscle he was training. Musashi had faced countless duels, each one sharpening his mind as much as his sword. Max saw his own daily challenges as his duels. By tackling each one, he was conditioning his mind to stay calm under pressure, just like Musashi. With each step forward, Max felt himself transforming. His confidence was no longer a mask, but something deeper, grounded in his own experiences of facing what once held him back. He started noticing how others reacted to him, sensing a new strength in his presence that hadn't been there before. Through Musashi's method of self-mastery, Max was beginning to build his own aura, a quiet, fearless confidence that others could feel without him even saying a word. Part 2. Unwavering focus, eliminating distractions. Musashi's reputation as an undefeated samurai wasn't just about his skill with a sword, it was about his extraordinary focus. While others might let distractions, fears, or doubts cloud their minds in battle, Musashi trained himself to shut everything out except the task at hand. This focus was what made him so intimidating. His opponents could sense it. Musashi wasn't thinking about fame, about proving himself, or about his next victory. All he cared about was the mastery of the moment, and that gave him an edge few could match. Max felt drawn to this idea. He'd always struggled with distractions, whether it was his phone, his wandering thoughts, or the need to keep up with others. Musashi's approach was different from anything he'd encountered before. While most advice focused on achieving multiple things at once, Musashi's life was a testament to the power of single-minded dedication. Musashi hadn't built his aura by trying to impress others. He built it by committing to mastery without letting anything, even success, take him off course. Max decided to apply this philosophy. He picked one simple area in his life where he could practice this single-minded focus, his morning routine. He realized he had a habit of jumping from one thing to another without finishing any of them fully. He'd start an email, then switch to checking messages, then scroll through social media, all without completing anything. Inspired by Musashi, he set a goal to do one task at a time, from start to finish, without letting his mind drift. At first, it was challenging. His mind would try to pull him in different directions, reminding him of other things he needed to get done. But Max pushed himself to stay with one thing, practicing Musashi's intense focus in his own way. It was frustrating at times. Those little distractions kept trying to break his concentration. But with each day, he noticed he could stay with his tasks a bit longer, finding a kind of satisfaction in truly finishing something. As his focus grew, Max started noticing something surprising. People seemed more drawn to him. It was as if they could feel his newfound clarity. His aura had shifted. He no longer had that scattered, anxious energy. Instead, he felt calm, confident, and in control even when things around him were chaotic. By practicing Musashi's focus, Max was beginning to develop his own powerful presence. He learned that mastery didn't come from showing off or chasing attention. It came from committing fully to each moment. This focus, like Musashi's, was becoming a core part of his aura, a quiet strength that needed no words. Part 3. Detached power, remaining calm under pressure. One of Musashi's most powerful traits was his ability to stay calm even in the face of death. He had an aura of unshakable composure that left opponents unnerved, sensing they were up against something they couldn't break. Musashi didn't just rely on his physical skills, he relied on his mind, mastering the art of detachment so that no fear or distraction could shake him. This mastery of calm was like an invisible armor, making him appear untouchable and giving him a presence that commanded respect. At the heart of Musashi's calm was the concept of no mind, or mushin. This state is one where the mind is free from distracting thoughts, doubts, or fears. In mushin, the mind becomes like still water, focused, clear, and entirely present. This allowed Musashi to act instinctively and without hesitation, moving with precision and decisiveness. Opponents could sense this readiness, feeling the quiet, intimidating power that came from his total presence. Max found this idea of mushin intriguing. He'd always let stressful situations cloud his mind, filling him with hesitation or doubt. But he realized that Musashi's calm wasn't just about appearing strong, it was about gaining real control over his mind. Max knew that if he could stay calm under pressure, his own presence would become stronger and more grounded, creating an aura others could feel the moment he walked into a room. To apply this, Max began practicing simple mindfulness techniques like grounding and deep breathing whenever he felt stress creeping in. Before entering a tense situation, he'd take a few deep breaths, focusing on the sensation of his feet on the ground and letting his mind settle. He noticed that this helped him approach challenges with a clearer head rather than reacting impulsively. As he practiced, Max saw the change in himself. No longer fidgeting or shifting nervously, he moved and spoke with calm control. He noticed that people responded differently to him. When he walked into a room, he felt people were drawn to his centered, unhurried presence. This calm gave him a quiet confidence that radiated outward, an aura that didn't need loud words or dramatic actions. By staying calm and detached, Max was embodying Musashi's principles, creating a presence that others felt instantly. A power that came not from force, but from mastery of his own mind. Through detachment, Max realized he didn't need to project strength. By being calm and grounded, he naturally built an aura that others respected and admired. Part 4. Embracing simplicity, reducing attachment to status. Musashi lived a life defined by simplicity. While others pursued fame, wealth, or recognition, he was singularly focused on mastery and personal growth. His lifestyle reflected a deep sense of humility and purpose. He saw material possessions and social status as distractions that could weaken his focus and clarity. Musashi believed that by letting go of these attachments, he could channel all his energy into becoming the best version of himself. This commitment to simplicity gave him an aura of quiet strength that commanded respect. His power wasn't displayed through flashy items or titles, but through his unwavering dedication. One of Musashi's teachings was, "Do not let yourself be guided by the feeling of lust or love." For him, this meant not letting emotions, desires, or ego cloud his vision. He understood that attachment to external things, whether wealth, validation, or admiration, only diluted his focus. By rejecting these distractions, he developed a pure, grounded presence that set him apart. Max saw that this approach was key to building a true aura. He realized he had often gotten caught up in appearances, wanting to seem successful or fit certain expectations. But by doing so, he had actually made himself more reliant on external validation, which only weakened his confidence and focus. Inspired by Musashi's example, Max started looking at his life and identifying areas where he could let go. He noticed that he could streamline his routines, focus more on essentials, and stop worrying about others' opinions of him. One change Max made was to detach from constant social media validation. Instead of seeking likes or approval, he focused on what really mattered to him, becoming more skilled, disciplined, and centered. This shift freed up his mind, allowing him to channel energy into his personal growth. He found that by simplifying his priorities, he felt more grounded and connected to his purpose, and he no longer felt the need to prove himself. This simplicity transformed Max's presence. When he walked into a room, people sensed an authentic, unshakable confidence that wasn't about showing off. His aura became stronger as he let go of the need for status and focused on his own growth. By embracing simplicity, Max, like Musashi, discovered that true power comes from within, creating an aura that radiates strength, humility, and purpose. Part 5. Commanding the Room. Confidence through inner strength. Musashi's aura wasn't about loud displays or flashy bravado. It was a quiet, powerful confidence built on a lifetime of self-mastery. Musashi had spent years honing his craft, testing himself in countless duels, and learning to control his mind. Through this journey, he developed an unshakable inner strength. He knew without a doubt that he could rely on himself completely, no matter what he faced. This confidence was intimidating, not because he boasted or showed off, but because his presence alone radiated the depth of his self-assurance. Musashi's confidence was like a steady flame. Opponents could sense it, feeling his calm intensity without him saying a word. This strength of presence came from knowing his abilities and his limits, from countless hours of dedicated practice, and from an unwavering commitment to self-discipline. Musashi didn't need to assert his power loudly. His quiet confidence spoke for itself, leaving others awed and often intimidated by the force of his presence. Inspired by this, Max saw that true confidence didn't come from seeking validation or proving oneself. Musashi's example taught him that real power was rooted in inner strength built over time. Max began focusing on mastering his own skills, developing his abilities, and working on becoming more self-reliant. He realized that each time he grew his own capabilities, he felt less dependent on the approval of others, and his confidence felt more genuine and grounded. Max took this lesson to heart by setting goals that challenged him to rely on himself. Instead of seeking validation or relying on others' praise, he worked on building his self-trust. He practiced new skills, dedicated himself to his craft, and learned to push himself, building a confidence that came from within. Over time, he noticed that this grounded strength changed how people responded to him. Through this process, Max developed an aura that naturally commanded respect. His presence became one of calm, steady confidence, a confidence that didn't need to be proven, only felt. By living with purpose, discipline, and a commitment to self-mastery, Musashi created an aura that didn't rely on words or status. It simply radiated from his presence. His life showed that true confidence and strength aren't about appearances or what others think. Instead, they come from within, built day by day through consistent actions and dedication to personal growth. If you want to build an aura that others can sense, start small. Take one principle that resonates with you, like staying calm under pressure or focusing fully on one task, and make it a part of your routine. Each time you practice this discipline, you're taking a step closer to a deeper, quieter confidence that others will notice. Musashi didn't achieve his presence overnight, and neither will any of us. But with every step forward, you'll find yourself developing an aura that's real and lasting. If you're ready to keep growing on this path of self-mastery, subscribe to stay connected.